This is Borderlands Game of the Year Edition. This is on Xbox Series X, and we are getting the Xbox One X enhancement inherited with this release, so it's not boosted or changed for the current generation. But with that, it actually does have some fascinating sort of, I guess you could say, upgrades or boosts here. So the game was targeting a native 4K resolution, but it had dynamic resolution scaling. So it went from basically 1440p up to, full 4K. So we should actually be getting a full, clear 4K image the whole time through. And we're going to quickly drive around here because the driving aspect of this was causing, definite issues on the Xbox One X. And you can see with the Series X, it's smooth. Getting that 60 FPS, keeping it, and having a good time with it too. Is that like a giant? What is going on there? And yeah, we do have HDR support as well. So this was a really great surprise. It brought the original game to the console platform, while like the current console platforms at the time, while providing some resolution boosts and improvements to the overall game. So this is like, a co-op focused sort of experience. We're going to be talking about it, as if it's perhaps your first time playing Borderlands, so that hopefully there's nothing really too, I guess you could say, spoilerish in regards to this one. So we did have it, like, I guess you could say, backwards compatible to a degree, but we didn't have, this sort of way, way better looking world. And once again, because I checked out Borderlands 2, and it looks great there. And I just want to give full props to Gearbox for actually allowing us to enjoy such, really detailed and boosted games, because the Handsome Collection at the time basically was an early gen release that did improve that version a lot, but then they completely boosted it for the mid-tier consoles a little bit later on, and we're of course reaping the full benefits of those at this point in regards to the improved quality specifically there, and also specifically here, which is fantastic because you play the whole series at a smooth, fluid, and gorgeous quality, which I think is absolutely delightful because I love the Borderlands series. I played this game, I rented it back in the day, like when it first came out, and when I returned it, I bought the game because I loved it that much. It was a very clever way of bringing basically like a semi-RPG, like it's an RPG game, but bringing larger scale games to the console platform. It was really quite fascinating and a great time. And again, co-op focus, so you play this with others. It's got these RPG elements of improving your class. So you pick your different classes, the different vault hunters. You want to be told a story, and you meet Claptrap and some other guys. You got different skills. Now, it's a very simplified game at this point. If you've played the other Borderlands games, it's definitely not as complex. And if you're wondering why everybody's kind of disintegrating here, it's because I'm showcasing like a first playthrough thing, so it kind of makes me look like I'm an insane god. But it does kind of tier up. You can pick harder difficulty options if you want, more of a challenge when you're playing. It's totally up to you. But I just like to destroy things because I've earned it while playing. So the story here is it's a pretty loose story. I mean, the idea is you're vault hunters and you're hunting vaults and these mysterious things. You meet all these wacky characters. You fight these weird, hilarious bosses, and you try to survive the trials of the wasteland. Otherwise, you get a pain when you die and you respawn, and that's kind of what it is. Play alone, play with other people, enjoy split screen, and have a wonderful time. Now, I did want to show off like multiplayer, but I couldn't find matches at this particular time, so I do apologize for that, because it does pressure the game a little bit more, but I mean, it's just been running really smoothly, and I haven't noticed really any sort of like picture quality lowering, so I don't really have any complaints in that regard. It looks really, really good. It plays very, very well, and I am more than pleased by what they did here. Like, this game looks just absolutely lovely, and it's nice to see the full potential of it finally being, I guess you could say, realized here on this platform without having to compromise to really any high degree in regards to the experience. Well, I think that is kind of really cool. Now, where should we go? Scangali, that's fun. The Arid Hills. Ledge's Safe House. I'm just kind of thinking of what might be a neat spot to kind of show off. Keeping in mind, there's lots of different areas. It does load a bit faster too. And I think with the visual style of the game, it's going to have a lot of longevity in regards to the experience. and just really how it looks in the long term. The art style here was perfectly chosen, and I mean, they've cleaned up the edges. It looks so great, and it plays so fluidly. And there's so many different weird characters and stories and side missions and objectives and goals and things you can do. And yeah, it's neat because you move through these like hub-like worlds. Like, it's open world to a degree, but you move through these hub areas, doing your thing, collecting your loot, grabbing the bazillions of guns that are present. Obviously not as many bazillion guns as later games, because those got bazillions and bazillions of guns, but you know, it's still got some wacky, weird options from these different companies, and you just sort of survive and battle and collect and kill weird monsters and look for vaults. That's really what this game is. It has a really messed up sort of humor on the, you know, the realm of Pandora, which is the planet you're on. It's this weird, dusty, sort of messed up society, and that's really what the gist of this is. You're fighting the creatures, fighting the monsters. What is that thing? Yeah. And you're kind of having a good time while doing so, I hope. I mean, I've spent way too many hours playing this game over the years, having a good time playing different like classes, because you can go back, you play one class, go and play another one, and I think this is sort of the proper way to kick off an adventure in the Borderlands series, is, you know, seeing what this one has to offer. It's not 100% necessary in regards to understanding the later games, but it's also a fun sort of adventure that you maybe don't want to miss out on, because it's so entertaining and wacky and weird. So many different locations, messed up enemies, challenges, bosses, things to venture to, places to go. It's just, it brings back many fond memories over the years, and it's so clean looking. It's so lovely. It's so like clear. I think that's the big part here, is just how, you know, they haven't really done much to it, but now we're really able to get that. I actually kind of really appreciate that they provided, not only this company, but so many companies did the whole, I guess you could say, dynamic res thing, because we're not really being locked or held back now that we have the extra power sitting here. Now, it would be cool if they went back and optimized it, maybe boosted the FPS up to like 120. Maybe that could be possible. I think that might be really interesting, but at the same time, what we have here is plenty good of an experience and way to play this. I mean, it's so cool and stylized and over the top, and, you know, normally there's more enemies and stuff like that, but we've kind of, again, played through this, which is kind of like a bug area. We don't even need the loot because it's so like low level, none of it does anything for me, but we can jump to another area so you can see more of it kind of in action. The just commons. Yeah, there's so many neat areas in this. Oh, I kind of want to. Oh, hello. I don't know if the post is nearby. I want to go and visit. We'll just go through here for now. There's this one area where there's like a giant creature thing. You know, I kind of want to show that because it's so cool. Like, again, I've had so many cool times and memories from this game over the years and years that I've played it. It's sort of exciting to once again witness it. Scooter, oh man, that's a cool guy. You know, once again jump in here and kind of play this, but with the sort of improvements and stuff. I don't suppose we have a fast travel point here, do we? Let's Scooter's catch a ride. We're gonna have to actually drive and find places here. Yeah, I got my ride. Okay, let's see. Where could we fast travel from? Map exit. Map exit. Map exit. Driving point. Driving point. Customize yourself, new you. So many weird exit points, but yeah, it's just kind of a really big game that has so many weird ways to play it and so many locations that you can go and visit along the way. And I know it doesn't feel as large in scope as the later ones do, but there's still something to me that's quite special about this one, quite entertaining about it. Really, it's always, are all these locations just like the stations? Oh, we're getting attacked by the Rex. Kind of crazy. But I hope I'm presenting this and not spoiling it and maybe getting you a little bit interested to see what Borderlands has to offer. Now, if it seems like it's too small of a, you know, game in scope, Borderlands 2 is ready. There's Borderlands 3. You know, they've really done a lot with the series. If you want to go to space, there's, you know, Borderlands the pre-sequel, which kind of adds more to the lore of the game, which is kind of cool. I think it's like the Skag Gully, or is it the Arid Hills? I think it's the Skag Gully, where it's got like this huge thing. And I don't even know if that's going to be there, but I do hope it actually is when we get over there, because that would be a fun little thing to kind of showcase and conclude our adventure with. I think it's over to the left here. But yeah, you think back to years ago when this launched on the, you know, the 360, and you're like, wow, this is so cool, it's so big and so expansive. And then you come here now and you see very clean edges, because there's like this like little bit of nostalgia on things. You know, you think back to stuff and how it looks, and you're like, okay, well, this is how it looked in my mind. I know for sure it did not actually look like this, but now you can see it with these boosts, and you're like, that's 100% how I want it to look and how I want it to be remembered as looking. And I think it's amazing, the sort of leaps and jumps we've seen over generations, kind of things that we would traditionally never see when it comes to like playing our games in the longevity, in the long run of things. Just because often, you know, across console generations and stuff, these boosts don't really traditionally happen. I feel like this isn't actually the area I wanted to go to. Usually there's like a giant roaming creature thingy, but I don't think this is 100% it, which is a little disappointing. But yeah, that area is really cool. If you can find the giant creature that I'm talking about, you'll be like, what? That's nuts. And yeah, it's kind of just, it's a fun game. It really is. It's hilarious. The bosses are so weird and funny, and they've got all these quirky little things. And I think the humor still kind of holds up to a degree. I mean, I've aged a bit, but I still find some of it kind of a little silly and funny. Which is weird, because in the third one, I didn't necessarily hit the humor to the degree that I did when I was playing these ones, but they've got more of a, I guess you could say, a nostalgia factor added to them, which is neat. Yeah, this is definitely not the area I was thinking of. But, yeah, whatever the case, I hope you enjoyed this dive into the past to take a look at what Borderlands has to offer, because it's been a treat showcasing these games and presenting them again, because I still think that these are worthwhile times. They're fun games, and they're kind of crazy. I mean, it's a messed up world on Pandora, and sometimes you just gotta deal with it.